How's it going, everybody? My name is Parker. I've met a couple of you guys already, just coming in and out of the office here. I do quite a bit of social media work. I like to say that I own a production company, but really it's just me and a buddy, and we just kind of go out of town and try to film stuff. One of the pages that I run here in town is called iSkyboards. Me and two buddies started this page. We tried to highlight things here in town. And it really got jump started probably about 2 months ago when we decided to really build our brand, because sometimes building your brand, you got this huge idea and it's just it's tough to get it going, right? So a couple things we're gonna go over is your brand. What does it mean to have a brand? Social media, and then the content that also goes into the social media. It's gonna be quick. It's like 6 slides. All right, your brand. Your specific or unique combination of style, influence, technique goes beyond person, helps to identify your target market, and can be ever evolving. So I really like the ever evolving part, because if you think about Amazon, right? They started as books, right? And all of a sudden it got bigger, and now it's like one of the global e-commerce that we can go to right now, right? And so it really does come from your brand and your specific unique combination of style and technique. No matter how you start the brand, your specific style and technique is how you're going to build that brand. And so starting small and then ever expanding is where you got to go. So you guys, a lot of you guys are artists and stuff. And so for me, film is also an art, where I was trying to run like 3 or 4 different pages. Couldn't get a lot of success going on social media until I kind of dumbed it down, focused on one rather than multiple. And then from the one, it blew up to where we were able to expand to multiple, if that kind of makes sense for you guys. And it goes beyond the person. So if you think about it like that, where you also kind of need to figure out if your brand is going to be based off a person, or if it's going to be based off an object, an activity, certain things like that. So a couple of profile brands that I did where we didn't really do very well, especially like iSkyboards, for instance. It took us, we've been doing this for about a year now, but we've really only been going full force for about 2 months, because for about 8 months of it, we couldn't really figure out where we really wanted to start, where we really were going. So a lot of it was just up in the air nonsense that we kind of were just shooting ideas around, until we finally figured it out and decided that it's going to be one person just doing everything here in town, and it follows that person around. And so once we kind of keyed into that, and I got more and more comfortable putting myself out there and put myself on camera, where I always wanted to be the behind guy. And then we kept trying to get people to do it, and then other people kept bailing. So then it kind of just kept falling underneath. So once we developed the brand, and then I became the face of the brand, it got a lot easier from there, and to move forward and on and on and on. Yep, and that also helped to identify our target market, where we help small businesses and younger, we work with a lot of like house DJs, a lot of our young artists who, they can't go pay big headlines to go advertise for them. So we go there, we shoot some videos for them, and then we blow up on Instagram when their next shows are and stuff like that. And so that helps us get other people involved as well, because we help them. They have friends who also want help as well. So that really helps too. So social media promotion, have a strategy, have a schedule, and share the love. I think even if you hate social media, I mean, I am a big hater of Instagram and Twitter and stuff, but like, I love what it can do for your brand, because it's almost like you got to use the rat race to get out of the rat race, right? And so the hardest part of it is starting it, and with it, having a strategy. So when I started my social media pages, and whenever I start a social media page, like I just started one for, it's actually my dad, but he's a CrossFit coach. And so he's like, I want to do CrossFit coaching videos. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And so for the first week, it was posting, 2-3 times a day, so that you have that bulk content. And the same thing with iSkyboards. I mean, we had filmed for about 6 months, so that we were able to go about 2 or 3 weeks without having to rush and go keep up with the next video. And so have a strategy, post a lot, build up some content. It may seem like you're not really going anywhere at first, But once you have that bulk order and that one video takes off, you have a variety of videos that those people can come to and still watch, or photos, stuff like that, you know? I don't do a lot of photos and stuff just because a lot of our, I feel that I just don't really have an eye for it. I have one friend who does a photography page, and he does that. He'll post like 3 or 4 times a day. And then after like about a month or two, he started just going like once a day, every other day, things like that. Have a schedule. So with Ice Skyboards, we do 2 specific posts. I try to post about 5 to 6 times a week, but we have 2 that I can't not miss. And we do a weekend post, which goes out usually Thursdays, sometimes Friday mornings. And then we do it like so it's a thing to do this weekend in Vegas. And so every Thursday I'll post that so that people can look forward to that and, get some ideas for stuff to do this weekend. Where that you really got to stay on top of, because if you do it this week, don't do it that week, then the fan base that you got that week thinks they're going to get this every week, and then they don't. So then you start to lose followers, right? And so start to damage your brand a little bit. Same with like our clients. Like if I tell my clients that I'm going to post about them this week and I don't, then that's on me. It makes us look bad. And it's hard to really expand from there. Because no matter what you do, I mean, it's kind of weird. You never know who knows the next person you're going to do business with. And so if I'm here doing business and I tell Daniel that I'm going to post for him this week and I don't because I'm off doing something else, next thing you know, I'm trying to go do business with, Joe over here, and he knows Daniel, and Daniel's like, nah, man, he's flaky. Like, he didn't post for us. Like, you know what I mean? So have a schedule, stick to it, and share the love. I actually learned this one from, I don't know if you guys know the brand, The Happiest Hour, and they're pretty big. They got about like 20,000 followers, but I worked on a photo shoot with them. And all they did was, it was a merch shoot. They had no budget. Only person who got paid was the cameraman. And I was just helping a friend out. But they brought in friends who have, their own other small businesses or like their own other following bases. And so from them, they were able to, 1, they got content because they helped out on this project. And 2, she was able to, she runs the company, it's a female. She was able to get, 4 or 5 other friends who have larger social media accounts to then post on their accounts. And so sometimes people think to build a brand, you really got to have the money and the budget, but it's really just like have some homies, help your friends out, reach out. You'll be really surprised how many people will be like, yeah, sure. I'll come to your event or whatever. Or I'll come collab with you. Like you'd be really surprised how many people are open to doing that type of stuff. Yeah. Share the love, tag your friends. Tag everybody and anybody until they get annoyed by it, because at some point they're going to repost it, and at some point they're going to start tagging you. And then it's really nice too when they start to tag you, because then throw them on your page and then other people see it and they're like, oh man, like if I go here, they might, repost my page, And so it's kind of cool because those people, they want the recognition as well too, Digestible content. Have a purpose. Keep it short and simple. I've done a couple of videos. Actually met Black yesterday for the first time, but I have edited his video that he did here. And so I was just walking around Area 15 and I was like, dude, I heard your voice because I watched your video like 10 times. But it was like a 47-minute video and we chopped it down to like 30 something. And then we broke it off into little segments. Because realistically, I mean, you can do it on Twitter now where you can throw up a 40-minute video, Twitter and YouTube. But we had to break it down because that's what's going to get you people to come to your YouTube page, right? So if we do this, it's a 40-minute class, chop up, get a couple clips from, 15 to 30 seconds. 15 is like the sweet spot. 30, you kind of start to lose people a little bit. You want to, if you do a 30-minute video, should make sure it's like quick cuts or it's like sped up so that people will stay engaged with it. I've noticed that works quite a bit. And be original. Being original is kind of tough right now. There's a term you could, I don't like to say like mimic other people, but like find people who are doing what you're doing and, kind of get some ideas off of it. You don't necessarily have to like take their idea or be that original about it, but be like, oh, I like what they did that. And then if you think about an old project you did, you're like, oh, I could do that. And then so the next time you're kind of combining your own a little bit. So it is a little bit of original and it's a little bit of taking somebody else's work, but that's what gives you the originality, because a little bit of your touch is what makes you original. Leverage one project for multiple media opportunities. Again, that kind of goes into keeping it short and simple. If you do have a long project, you can shorten it up to draw people into another platform. So I'm still trying to build up YouTube. I wasn't really a big YouTube guy, but I kind of am able to draw people from Instagram to our YouTube page. Because if you do have a longer video, a lot of our 30-second videos don't do too well. Just because they're slower. Because we do a promo video for all of our restaurants that we get, and those don't really get a lot of views just because they're slower. It's more meant to showcase the restaurant as a whole rather than keep people entertained. So with that, we do a small 15-second video or a 10-second video, and then we're like, okay, go check out the full video on YouTube. Some people do it, some people don't, but that's where you start to get your real fan base right there. The people who actually will want to, we boosted a post once and we thought it was going to be like this, get a lot more credit for it. And we had about 35 profile visits and we were like, man, that's kind of lame. But then we talked to another guy and he was like, no, that's what you want. Cause those are 35 real, fans, or like real people that are actually interested. If you got 1,000 people coming to your page, odds are, 10 of them are actually going to like follow you or like it or do something, So it does help to draw in specific people. It may not look like it, but it'll get there eventually. Quantity, drive, quality. This one depends on what you're doing. So with quantity, there are people who are like, you have to post 5-6 times a day. That's a lot. But if you're doing something that's like a 5-second video where it's like me sitting here talking to you, yeah, I could chop this video down into 5-second clips and post it 5-6 times a day for a whole week, and then I'm good for a week. But then I got to catch up next week, right? And so it's tough to do that, where I like to do, going back to having a schedule and having a plan, where in my mind, you can do it only posting 3-4 times a week, as long as you have a schedule and you stick to it. Because if you start with the quantity, then you have to keep up with the quantity. People expect the quantity, and it kind of takes a toll on you in the long term. So that's something that I'm not going to say quantity doesn't work. I'm not going to say quality doesn't work, but figure out which one you want to do and then stick with it. Expand your network. Respond and be active on social media channels. Say yes to meeting calls and find ways to appeal your brand to new markets. Responding and being active on social media is a lot sometimes, and it really does help though, because if someone comes to your page and they are expecting some sort of feedback, or like you're posting something about your art or like a show that you're going to do or an event that's coming up, and you're like, where is it? Or like, where can I see this around town? Like Recycled Propaganda, he's got a bunch of stuff in town and I see it and I'm like, okay, where am I supposed to go see that at? Like, I don't know where that's actually at, And so responding and being active on social media is really big. The CrossFit page that I was running, I don't respond. I let him respond. I just film and post, but he has gotten people to come into their gym just by responding, because they're like, oh, like I've been thinking about coming, like, what's it like, blah, blah, blah. And so getting the quick response, and it's personable. A lot of times there are these AIs now that you can like throw them in there and they try to be personable, but it's really not that great sometimes. But having the personal touch of responding and stuff, a lot of people really do like that. And it does make you stand out a lot. Because I've even reached out to profiles, be like, hey, I really like this video and, I want to shout you guys out this week because I don't have content from them yet. Sometimes they don't reply, and then I move on to the next person who did reply. And so you kind of miss out on opportunities like that as well by not responding on social media as well. Saying yes to meeting and calls. I like this one because you do never know who you're going to meet anywhere. I like to say yes to all my friends' stuff because, one, your friends are starting businesses too, right? They're trying to build their brands, and it's kind of tough when your buddy's like, hey, Daniels, their first couple events, I mean, they were reaching out to us to just come. I'm not an artist, but like I would go just to go and be a body there, you know? And so it really helps them out too. And so it makes them feel good and it just shows the level of support. But then you never know who you're going to meet along the way who's going to help you in the next project that you're doing as well. Find ways to appeal your brand to new markets. That's a really big one. So like with ice Skyboards, we were mainly focusing on small businesses. And then I met up with a friend whose cousin runs a 128th Street. They're like a house DJ group here in town. And all of a sudden I meet this guy and now I've promoted like 3 or 4 of their shows now. And so it's just like, you never really know who you're going to see and when you're going to do it, where we thought we were just going to do small businesses. And now we can do young local talent and artists here in town. And they blow up usually too, because they are the guys who like really, they have a brand, they know what they're doing because it's music and they have a special unique look about them, right? And so that's kind of what they look to, and they just need the help as well. And yeah. As far as all the social media platforms, I struggle with trying to post on all of them. Once I've cut down to just 1 or 2 of them is when we really started to expand. And for me and for you guys, it's just pick which one you know the best and do it. Instagram and TikTok are my 2 favorite. I like Instagram the most because you're the most likely to, you can tag, you can share with people. It's very user friendly, stuff like that. And you could also link like your Facebook. I know nobody uses Facebook, but some people do. And then it's a 2-in-1, right? TikTok's fun just because you can reach a wider variety of people, where like ice Skyboards doesn't do too well on TikTok just because we're targeting just Vegas. Where like I've had some TikTok accounts blow up where I was just putting content out there to just, and anybody from around the world can watch it, right? So once you kind of narrow down on that, it helps you a lot. Twitter, I don't use Twitter at all. We do have an ice Skyboards account, but I have a friend who runs that because he loves Twitter. He's on Twitter all the time. He'd be like, "Oh, go quote this guy's tweet." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude." And so pick which will work and pick which one you like and which one you like to work with the most, because then it'll benefit you. And then eventually you're able to branch out to here. So like if you tell yourself, well, I'm just going to post on Instagram. I'm going to post on Instagram for a whole month, 3 times, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, whatever. Next thing you know, you got 1,000 followers. Then boom. Okay, well, go check out my new video on, or go check out our website, or go check out my TikTok or Snapchat. Do you guys use Snapchat pretty often now? I don't either.
It's starting to fall apart.
It's starting to fall apart a little bit, yeah. They started like doing like the like social page, and all the celebrity stuff. It got weird.
It's just like Vine. Vine ended quick.
That is true. That is true. Elon might bring it back. We don't know yet. And then events. Events for you guys are pretty big because Graffiti Park hosts a lot of events, right? A lot of events, you get some content, you meet some cool people, you never know when you're gonna collab with those people as well. And that will really help expand your brand. I was just talking to Daniel the other day about, in February, I want to do a photo shoot for my brand, but bring in other brands, because that's the way you're going to build your brand. Until eventually, if you do that, do the free stuff first, build up your brand, show people what you can do. Then the big paying clients will come in and be like, I loved what you did there. Here's whatever, if you can go show my hat in your next video. And it really does happen like that. Like a lot of people do that. And yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah. Do you guys have any questions? Anything else that you kind of want to go about? I would say merch is another good one. People think merch is really expensive, but it's really not, because as long as you buy your pieces for you first, because you're the walking billboard, right? I mean, these guys, I see them all the time.
Always.
Nothing not Graffiti Park. At least one piece of item on them is Graffiti Park. With ice Skyboards, I have a polo and a hoodie, and then that's it. And so I wear that hoodie probably like 5 or 6 times a week. But it gets you out there. It gets your name out there. It gets people thinking. Stickers are a really good one, because you can plop that shit anywhere. You can find some affordable ones. Sometimes it is a little pricey, but to me, the more little things that you can do that are tangible, the cheaper stuff, and that's things you can also give away to your friends and stuff. It's pretty easy like that, and that really gets people out there. They may not recognize it right away, but you go to the Arts District and all of a sudden you walk past an iSkyboard sticker, and then you see me out and about with the hoodie, and you're like, oh wait, you're that one guy. And it's like, yeah. So like some people do start to key on stuff like that. But yeah.